So earlier this year, we launched the Bristol City Heritage and Archive. And as part of that, we launched the legacy numbers. And so far this year, we've given out 5 legacy caps, and now we're going to give out the 6th legacy cap to someone who meant so much to Bristol City as a player, but more later in his career as an academy coach.
I think Frank became a good coach because of his great love of football.
I thought I knew a little bit about football in 1985, but I soon realised, working with Frank and Dave, their knowledge was far greater than mine.
He was way ahead of his time in terms of when we got brought into the Centre of Excellence. It was we were all doing technique, turns, everything was with the ball. And yeah, this was some time ago now, many years ago, and people weren't doing that at that point.
And his fitness regime, he was fantastic.
He was really good at getting the young players technically good and the ball mastery techniques, and he was a key member of building the academy as it started.
A bit of our identity that we retain is still around that 1v1 and that ball mastery, and making sure that the young players coming through now get exposure to that.
I met Frank when I was 15. We both made our debuts in the same year. I made my debut on the 28th of November 1959, and Frank had made his league debut a month before, I think on the 31st of October. To me, he was a tremendous fitness fanatic. He was as fit as a flea. He had a lot of skill, a lovely balance, and a strong lad as well. He had a fantastic talent, really. But I thought Frank would go on to be a top player. It's sad that he drifted out of the game to a certain extent.
I'll never forget it, really. It was 1985, and the FA had just started opening centres of excellence around the country. And Dave Burnside asked myself and Frank to coach at an independent centre at Redwood Lodge. The next 5 years were amazing. I've never come across anybody quite like Frank Jacobs.
Probably my first night at Redwood Lodge, when I turned up as a young, I think I was 10, 11-year-old. And I remember him putting me with Aaron Brown for a 1v1. And him, saying I had to go up against him. And it was one of the, you'll know Aaron, he was one of the quickest, fastest players. He was older than me. And I just remember thinking, geez, this is hard.
One of the things about Frank is that he loved football, and all he was interested in doing was, all the players that we had, was trying to make them better players.
And of course, I look back to when I was a young lad when Frank was coaching us, and I think all those qualities you can see now he brought through, him and Pete, had a real roundness about them. So it wasn't just technique, you would work hard, you would physically try and fight. So he gave us a real spirit as well. I
don't think this academy would be where it is now without them foundations being set by Frank, by Pete, by people like that, Dave Burnside. And I was lucky enough to have lots of chats with them and talk about football with them. I was really interested about learning about the academy. I worked with them. So yeah, very important people, and they should be remembered.
We are what we are because of our history. Frank's a huge, big part of that.
Yeah, this is the shirt that Frank's family kindly donated to the Heritage and Archive. Look at that.
Fantastic. Yeah, so I can always say it's quite emotional, really, to see that. And Frank was a big part of my life, many other lads' life, and to know that he wore that shirt at Bristol City, and we have it today and for the future.
I know how proud Frank was to wear this. He loved his football, but he loved Bristol City.
That's a fantastic shirt. What a lovely shirt, lovely colours.
Frank wore this with pride and really enjoyed wearing the Bristol City badge on his shirt.
And Frank will be remembered, especially from the academy and what he set up here.
Okay, so this is the cap that Frank's family will receive, and you've obviously got one yourself.
It's a beautiful cap, and it's well deserved for Frank.
Yeah, I think it's marvellous that Bristol City are recognising the contribution Frank made to Bristol City and to young players. There will never be someone quite like Frank Jacobs again, and it was a pleasure and a privilege to work with him for 25 years, and he's a marvellous man.